A construction firm employee has lost a $1.8 million compensation case claiming his former supervisor bullied him. I smell something fishy going on here. No, literally, I do. David Hinkst sued construction engineering for psychiatric and physical injuries allegedly suffered as a result of being bullied in the workplace, where he worked as an entry-level contractor administrator between 2008 and 2009. After an 18-day trial in November 2017 before the Supreme Court of Victoria, Justice Rita Zammit last month dismissed the case, finding that even if the incident occurred, it would not necessarily amount to bullying. If it occurred, it wouldn't amount to bullying. I see a precedent being set here. What was the incident that went before the Supreme Court that went for 18 days before it was dismissed? Well, Mr. Hinkst claimed that former supervisor Greg Short started farting the day he returned to the head office and took the desk in a communal office space. And this progressed to the point where he would do it every day. Mr. Short, also known as Mr. Stinky, told the court, "Look, I don't recall doing it, but I may have done it once or twice. Maybe, but I can't recall. I don't recall doing so. I'm not flat out saying I did or I didn't. I just can't remember doing it." Oh, come on, Stinky. Pull the other finger. But Mr. Short, Stinky, denied he was doing it with the intention of distressing or harassing Mr. Hinkst. "No, not at all," he said. The court heard that the constant farting led Mr. Hinkst to spray deodorant on Mr. Short and call him Mr. Stinky. Another former employee, Philip Hamilton, also known as Hamo, told the court he recalled at times that Mr. Hinkst got quite offended by some of the stuff that went on. "Do you think?" Hamo said, "Obviously, there were incidences where Mr. Stinky had a propensity to walk over to the printer, which was next to me, and I think Mr. Hinkst sat behind where the printer was and Mr. Stinky would fart, and that would happen, well, quite frequently. Hey, here's a pretty good tip, because this is Tuesday's tutorial, is never sit behind the printer. I mean, I would laugh it off, or, walk out or whatever, but I knew that Mr. Hinkst took quite offence to it, and to be honest, at the time, I didn't understand. But then, obviously realising it was Mr. Hinkst being of German descent, whereas us Australians are sort of brought up to, kind of accept it or think that it's just what happens. See, here's the problem with this little snowflake, Mr. Hinkst. He's German.
I've got too much to do. Listen, don't mention the war. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it all right.
But Mr. Hinkst was always quite often offended when that happened. The core of Mr. Hinkst's bullying case was that good old Stinky's former supervisor, Luke Pepperell, well, we'll call him Peppers, and company director Simon Barker, good old Simo, were engaged in a conspiracy to marginalise him and terminate his employment. In particular, he claimed he had received a phone call 5 or 6 weeks before he was made redundant in which Mr. Short abused him about his work performance, allegedly telling him he had fucked up, he kept fucking up, he was not worth shit, and that he was not worth his salary. Mr. Hinkst claimed in the background he could hear, leave it to those Germans, they'll hear bloody everything, won't they? Not a party, but some sort of loud laughter, as if people were listening into the conversation and finding it humorous. Hey, whose turn is the fart on Hingo? He also claimed he was told his brewed coffee was shit and that he was excluded from being invited to the cafe with the others. Mr. Hamilton's evidence was that there was some inappropriate behaviour in the office, including passing wind, but that was like typical banter or mucking around. Okay kids, we have a new game. Remember Pass the Parcel? Well, this game is called Passing Wind. Jessica, you start, and if you wouldn't mind passing it on to Tommy. Now, here at The Point TV, we research our material, and as you know, my intrepid team did some digging, see what I did there, and uncovered the truth behind the scandal during a recent construction team building get-together. Take a look. Had he had not lost his job being abused over the telephone, the flatulence would never have been an issue. Now, I checked with a reputable law firm, Bartier Perry Lawyers, and received confirmation from one of the partners, James Matson, who said, the law imposes on an employer a duty to take reasonable care to avoid causing its employees a recognisable psychiatric injury. It all depends on the farts. Sorry, the facts. Otherwise, have a chuckle and try not to take everything so seriously. Like wind, it will pass. Well, my team of researchers have again uncovered the truth. We found Mr. Stinky's wife, who was a foreign TV host conducting her last interview. Take a look.
Niemand minder dan John van de Heuvel. John,
Hi.
Hi, mijn eerste vraag aan jou. Wat vind jij nou, naast jouw eigen programma, de beste misdaadprogramma's op televisie?
Ja, dat is toch het programma wat eigenlijk al jarenlang op de Nederlandse televisie te zien is. Het programma van Peter R. de Vries.
Ja.
Het is natuurlijk een beetje concurrent van me, maar ja, op zich...
Oh, shit.
Ja?
Oh, jongens.
Nou.
Ik heb een ongelukje. Ik ben... Fuck.
They would have to give you the shits. Justice Zammit said Mr. Hinks was profoundly hurt by the loss of his employment. All I can say to the little snowflake is, harden up. My father is Austrian and my mother is German. And I always remember when I dropped a little poopser, my mother would say, don't worry, it's only gas.
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
So what do you think? Do you think this was blown all out of proportion? And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, why not? Now get your stinky hands and hit that bell icon. Now go away and pull my finger. I'm Gerald Pauschmann for The Point TV. I held off the whole way. I couldn't do it anymore. I can't do it. I've got the dog coming up. The dog, it's all right. I've got to go. I've got to go. They're all coming down. They're all the dogs. Go the team.
I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.